Tonight, a pledge for peace. President Bush brings together the leaders of Israel and Palestine, and they promise they'll try to make peace by the end of next year. I'm Katie Couric. Also tonight in our special series, Generation RX, a physician becomes a pusher. So Dr. Jimenez was essentially a doctor and a drug dealer.
Yes, he was a licensed drug dealer.
Feeding an epidemic of prescription drug abuse.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
Good evening, everyone. Israeli and Palestinian leaders today took what could be the first step toward a peace agreement. Brought together by President Bush, they agreed to new talks with the goal of striking a deal by the end of next year, a deal that would include a Palestinian state. Bill Plant is covering the summit at the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. Bill, it was handshakes and smiles, but for a time it looked like things might actually fall apart.
It sure did, Katie. When the president got here this morning, the Israelis and Palestinians had still not been able to agree on an agenda. CBS News has learned that Secretary of State Rice pressured the Palestinian president, Mahmoud Abbas, to come up with something to avoid the appearance of failure.
Distinguished guests.
An hour later, Mr. Bush read the hastily drafted pledge by Israel and the Palestinians to try to make peace by the end of next year.
We agree to immediately launch good faith bilateral negotiations in order to conclude a peace treaty, resolving all outstanding issues, including all core issues, without exception, as specified in previous agreements.
So the meeting some dismissed as a photo op made an ambitious promise, resolving all outstanding issues, borders, refugees, Jerusalem, and security, has proved impossible for 60 years. So can it happen now?
Time has come for the cycle of blood, violence, and occupation to come to an end.
This will be an extremely difficult process for many of us, but it is nevertheless inevitable.
The presence of Arab League nations at Annapolis, including Saudi Arabia and Syria, is an important breakthrough. But that has upset the militant Palestinians of Hamas, who control Gaza, and angered Iran, the other major power in the region, which sees the Arab world resisting its influence.
It was probably, in its most profoundest sense, a message to Iran that a new era has begun in the Middle East, and that moderate Arab states, the Israelis, the Palestinian Authority, are not going to stand by idly.
Aaron Miller, a veteran of the search for peace, argues that this time may be different.
For the first time ever, an Israeli prime minister and a Palestinian president have had hours of serious discussion on the core issues of the conflict.
But the timetable? Is there a chance in hell that this could get done by the end of next year?
I think it's going to be hard to do because of the difficult issues.
Hard to do for sure, and also likely to involve a lot more direct engagement by this president than he has so far been willing to give. Katie?
Bill Plant in Annapolis, Maryland tonight. While the Palestinians may be talking peace in Annapolis, at home they're at war with one another, especially in the West Bank, where today police came down hard on protesters. As Elizabeth Palmer reports, the Fatah government, backed by Washington, is now targeting anyone who doesn't toe the line.
Hamas sympathizers in the West Bank demonstrating against the Annapolis peace talks today were confronted and attacked by Palestinian security forces. Those forces are Fatah supporters loyal to President Abbas. This is the side the United States has chosen to support. But these very forces charged with keeping law and order are breaking the law every day. Amnesty International has documented over 1,000 cases of illegal arrest and torture by Fatah forces. Daoud is just one victim, tortured in August for supporting Hamas. I was hung up by my wrists in a cell for hours, he says, and beaten until I passed out. And here's what happens to Palestinian journalists trying to report on this kind of abuse. They get roughed up by the security forces, or worse. Al Jazeera, the Arabic news channel's satellite truck, was firebombed, and its correspondent received death threats.
We have cameras in around the offices and also in around my house, because it's very dangerous for me and for my family.
But Saeb Erekat, a senior Palestinian peace negotiator, denies Fatah forces are following government orders. orders to go and harass or arrest Hamas supporters. Have they had such orders?
I don't think they have any orders.
All right, then why are they doing it?
I think this is wrong. I condemn this.
Yeah, I know, but why are they doing it? You're
this on behalf
supposed
of
to be
Abu
in
Mazen.
control of them.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm not in control of many things. I'm not in control.
But if Fatah's leaders aren't in control of their own forces at home, how credible are their promises in Annapolis, thousands of miles away? Elizabeth Palmer, CBS News, the West Bank.
Now to the presidential campaign. It's 37 days until Iowa, and according to the latest polling, Democrat Hillary Clinton is trailing Barack Obama there. 5 days later, it's New Hampshire, where Clinton's lead has been cut almost in half since September to 14 points. Today, Clinton was looking ahead to South Carolina, one of the states where she's battling Obama for the support of black voters. We have 2 reports on that tonight, beginning with Jim Axelrod, who's covering the Clinton campaign.
It wasn't the candidate who told the story in South Carolina today, as much as the supporters on stage with her.
Join this team that you see behind me.
Hillary Clinton surrounded herself with African Americans in a state where half the Democratic voters are black and where Barack Obama is working hard to overcome a double-digit deficit in the polls.
Are you fired up?
His wife was just here stumping in African American beauty salons.
I give you a hug.
But when it comes to spouses, Clinton does pretty well herself in the state that'll hold the first Southern primary. Her husband, highly popular with blacks, has campaigned here on 3 occasions. It's the first time the Clintons have had to compete for African American support. But as her coy mention of him among those she'd rely on as president makes clear, she's up for it.
People like Colin Powell, for example, and others who can represent our country well, including someone I know very well.
Hillary Clinton's commanding lead here suggests that for many African Americans, this highly complicated choice comes down to record trumping race.
I want him to be president one day.
One day.
One day, yes, but not now.
Our next president of the United States.
State Representative Harold Mitchell says his heart had him backing Obama early on. He switched to Clinton last month.
We got to get away from this emotional feelings. I mean, if you put that aside and look at the candidates, you know,
no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
For this African American, Obama's time will come. For Clinton, he says, the time is now. Jim Axelrod, CBS News, Spartanburg, South Carolina.
I'm Dean Reynolds in New Hampshire. Barack Obama has said that the big city cab drivers who once refused to pick him up had no doubt about his blackness back then, nor should anyone else now. Campaigning, he addresses the race issue without hesitation, once even mimicking gangbangers to criticize their work ethic.
Why I got to do it? Why you didn't ask Pookie to do it?
He quotes Martin Luther King and occasionally slips into the cadence of a black preacher. But recent polls show Hillary Clinton is the choice of more black Democrats, and it's clear that Obama's racial identity gives pause to some. He is not the descendant of African slaves, but is the son of a white mother and a Kenyan father. So he alone gets questions about just who he is.
My black activist friends from here to Boston say you're not black, you're multiracial, and I want to know how you self-identify.
But I self-identify as African American. That's how I'm treated, and that's how I'm viewed, and I'm proud of it.
The issue of whether or not he is black enough is not the primary issue. The issue is whether or not he has enough experience.
Besides, Obama may have other strengths.
He is seen as more palatable and more acceptable to larger numbers of white voters.
Of course, there are whites who will never vote for Obama because he is black.
I don't want to sound prejudiced or anything, but for one, I don't want to vote for a colored man to be our president.
When asked if this country would vote for a black man for the highest office in the land, Senator Obama deflects the question, suggesting merely raising it is a disservice to the American electorate. But the American electorate has never had anyone quite like Barack Obama to consider. Dean Reynolds, CBS News, Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
And 2 notes about Republican presidential candidates tonight as we open up our Campaign 08 notebook.
everybody in.
Did he say it or not? In the Christian Science Monitor, a Muslim businessman writes that Mitt Romney recently told him he would not include a Muslim in his cabinet. But speaking with reporters today, Romney tried to clarify what he said.
I said, no, I don't think that you have to have a Muslim in the cabinet to take on a radical jihad any more than during the Second World War we needed to have a Japanese American to help us understand the threat that was coming from Japan. I would choose people based upon their merits and their capabilities.
Who do I make it out to? Meanwhile, Republican frontrunner Rudy Giuliani has given what may be his strongest support yet to the Iraq War. He told a New Hampshire newspaper he's even more certain that invading Iraq was the right move. In fact, he said that if he'd been president, he'd have done the same thing. And one more political note, Senator Ted Kennedy has just signed a six-figure deal to write his memoirs. No details were released, but it's reportedly comparable to Hillary Clinton's $8 million book deal. The Kennedy autobiography is due out in 2010. And on the matter of money, the housing slump has prices continuing to fall. A report today says prices of single-family homes are down 4.5% nationwide compared to a year ago. That is the largest drop in almost 20 years. Analysts blame a steady rise in foreclosures and tighter lending standards. There is much more CBS News ahead. Up next, some surprising enemies in the war on drugs. Users and doctors turn dealers as we continue our series, Generation RX. There has been a virtual explosion of prescription drugs in this country. During the last decade, for example, sales of the 5 leading painkillers nearly doubled. And while the majority of these painkillers are not being abused, they are replacing street drugs like marijuana and cocaine for teenagers looking to get high. The pushers are the people you'd least expect, as you'll see tonight as we continue our series, Generation RX. Here in Paradise, there's an epidemic.
Upper middle class individuals from good families, solid families, that are becoming addicted to pharmaceutical drugs.
And Sergeant Lisa McElhaney of the Broward County Sheriff's Office says Florida's a hot spot.
The accessibility to these drugs is tremendous. The supply is right there.
Right there in the family medicine cabinet. And increasingly, kids are trading pills at school. And these are kids as young as middle school?
Oh, yes.
And then there are the drug dealers, and they have a big advantage in Florida. While 35 other states will soon have a centralized computer system to monitor all prescriptions, Florida has no such law, and that's led to the opening and brazen advertising of dozens of pain management clinics.
We have individuals coming from Massachusetts, Ohio, West Virginia, driving down to Fort Lauderdale to visit pain clinics and obtain large quantities of the drugs.
They make the trip because at some of the clinics they meet up with corrupt doctors like Raul Jimenez.
I was accommodating. He says, you want to stay with this medication? This is what you need? Fine. You don't really need it? Well, I'll give it to you anyway.
So Dr. Jimenez was essentially a doctor and a drug dealer?
Yes. He was a licensed drug dealer.
Oxycodone for only $39.
Dr. Jimenez was the man to see, turning the honest medical practice of pain management into street corner drug dealing.
We wanted our market share. And, we don't want to lose the patient. We don't want to lose a paying patient.
And the patients know exactly what's required on their end to close the deal.
They tell the doctor whatever they want, and they walk out with a combination or a cocktail of drugs.
27-year-old Jason Arthur knows all about conning doctors, but this addict turned drug dealer took the scam to an even higher level.
I suppose you could say it was a business.
Like any good businessman, Jason kept meticulous records, notebooks filled with details of his drug deals and his false identities.
I was doing so many names, so many prescriptions, that I had to keep them straight somehow.
On his best days, Jason would hit 10 pharmacies, getting thousands of pills to sell. His specialty was forging doctors' signatures.
He not only was forging them, he manufactured his own prescriptions.
Oh, so he had the prescription pads made?
Yes, yes. They were very good.
The dealer and the doctor, neither man seemed to take the crime very seriously, but Sergeant McElhaney's prescription drug unit did.
They found my notebooks in the car, blank prescriptions, filled, written prescriptions.
Jason faces 75 years in prison, and Raul Jimenez is no longer a doctor. He's been stripped of his medical license and now works in a gas station.
And I am facing 75 years for prescription drug trafficking.
Sending dealers to prison is just part of stopping this epidemic of prescription drug abuse. But according to Sergeant McElhaney, the real answers begin at home.
Lock up your medicines. These are dangerous, tempting substances to inquisitive children. Don't leave them where they're accessible to the kids.
And what if, despite your best efforts, your son or daughter gets hooked? Tomorrow we'll take you down the harrowing road of a young man trying to end a life of addiction in rehab. Still ahead, America on sale. Why Europeans look at the USA as one giant shopping mall. The dollar has been taking a beating on world markets. It now takes almost $1.50 to buy what just €1 can buy. So that means America's a real bargain. Here's Anthony Mason.
The next place we're going to.
When Pam Parisi leads shopping excursions through New York's fashion district,
Right this way.
she's used to getting some foreign tourists in her group.
Ooh.
But on this morning, 11 of her 12 customers are Europeans.
We've always had Brits, we've always had Irish people, Europeans, but now they're coming in droves,
Because with the dollar near record lows, to Europeans like Elizabeth Morton, it looks like we're giving it all away.
And I've been manically shopping for 4 days.
You've been manically shopping for 4 days?
My feet hurt, yeah.
The influx has been awesome. 1 million Europeans are expected to visit New York City alone this month, about 50,000 more than last year. Picking the foreigners out at big city outlets is easy. They're the ones dragging suitcases behind them.
It's like feeding frenzy.
British travel agent Shane Mallon says his bookings to the U.S. are up nearly 40% this season.
And it's purely driven by the desire to shop, shop, shop.
Some foreign shoppers aren't even leaving home to buy here. The Virginia-based website Discern.com sells reconditioned electronics like iPods and digital cameras.
Our products are great deals for those that are overseas. 30% of our business is actually overseas.
The iPod Nano she sells for $179 would cost the equivalent of $240 in England.
And they also have some knits, really neat stuff.
But foreigners who make the trip can't stop smiling.
I didn't think it'd be this good.
For busloads of foreign tourists, the land of opportunity suddenly looks like the sale of the century.
Fantastic New York shopping.
Anthony Mason, CBS News, New York.
And that is the CBS Evening News. I'm Katie Couric. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
For news 24 hours a day, click on CBSNews.com.